Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Wednesday, July the 14th. And today, being a Wednesday, we had some Powell, some Fed speak. Powell testifying in front of Congress, and this is in the dark black right here. The light gray is overnight. This is the daily session today in the ES. But Powell spoke to Congress, and he was saying that inflation is higher than he expected. What a shocker. Because they had been saying, inflation was transitory, and now they're saying, and then we're going to have rate hikes, and then we're not, and um, now I guess the latest as of today, he's saying that the rise in home prices is worrisome, I think was his exact words, which, is just pure inflation. But that it's going to subside, and, everything's going to be great, it's going to moderate and all that kind of stuff. I'm getting, I know Powell has to be careful with what he says and all that kind of stuff, but it sure seems like he's not really in touch with what's going on out there. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But we shall see. Those guys are a lot smarter about the economy, I suppose, than I am. But be that as it may, he said that they don't see any need to back off of any stimulus, anytime soon. They have to have substantial further progress toward employment goals and inflation goals and all that kind of stuff. So basically more of the same. And so that gives us these whipsaws. We've been having some wild whipsaws and swings in the market. It's picking up. It's intensified in the last couple of weeks. But overall, we just keep going higher. And let me show you this. If you haven't been looking at this on a daily basis, this is the ES on a 10-day chart. So, little dips, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, straight up, straight down, on and on and on and on and on. Crazy, roller coaster kind of stuff, and it's hard to trade that stuff, at least for what we do, in the options world and in the futures world too. But let's go out here on a 20-day chart, and we can see, if you put this, I guess, into a little more perspective, I mean, basically it's, it's straight up, and we keep hitting, this was all-time high, this is a new all-time high, 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 new all-time high. I don't know how many sessions we've had, lately with new all-time highs, but it's been quite a few. And as you can see here, 41.26. That's 250 something points, and we just keep going. Now it is interesting. You see this white line? That's a snow line. That's a voodoo snow line. So let me go out even further here to a 1-year chart, and you can see we've just kind of run straight into that thing. And really, honestly, I mean, I really like the voodoo levels. I use fib levels, I use voodoo levels, and they're always very accurate, honestly. Lately, we have been going through these levels like they're not even there. Now, in this long run higher, such as that's the strongest line. It's the red line, which is a fire line. We went right through it, and it should have held here. We went right through it, came right back up through it, right through it, right back up through it. These light blues are skylines. We just kind of went right through those. Here we are kind of stalling out a little bit, but we're basically at 4,400 right now. So, do we fail from here or not? And that is that's the $1,000,000 question. And let me show you, put it in perspective here. Let's look at the NASDAQ. I mean, look at this run off. Now this voodoo line, that's a tree line. It did hold. I mean, right to the T and right to the T right there. But off that, I mean, we've been completely vertical straight up, and we've been looking for about 15,000 on the NASDAQ, the NQ. We got to 14,996, so we're essentially there, right? On the what makes up the NASDAQ, as we know, it's being driven. Look at this. I mean, there's Amazon straight up. There is Apple. Straight up, you've got a market of a handful of stocks. Essentially, is what we've got that's driving this thing. Apple, Amazon, Google. There's our Google, straight up, 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 up. And these guys haven't even reported yet. So Netflix and I believe Tesla's next week, and the week after is Amazon, Apple. We got Facebook in there, and all that, on and on and on. So Microsoft and all those. But, they're going to have to really have some pretty magnificent, not only earnings, which I honestly think they will actually, but the guidance is what's going to be important for this one. And I just don't know what's going to happen there with the guidance going forward on all these big techs. And the big techs we know are driving the NASDAQ, and the NASDAQ I think is pulling up the ES with it right there. And what's not participating is the RUT, which is our small caps, right? Look at that, just going nowhere, right? In fact, it looks kind of droopy. Now, what could happen if we have a pullback in the in the Nasdaq and the S&P? That money probably will rotate into small caps, perhaps. We'll see. All this should happen in the next 2 or 3 weeks. So, what we are looking for, what we've been telling everyone, I'm actually completely flat in the bias account right now, and we took some profits earlier in the last couple of weeks, got some nice profit on the month, and we're just waiting and watching for opportunities right now. So now's not the time to be loading up on a lot of positions either way. I wouldn't short this. I wouldn't really try to get aggressively short. I do have we are going to put on a hedge or two in the next week or two, maybe in the next couple of days if we keep going higher. But I wouldn't aggressively short it because this thing is likely to keep going, especially with earnings coming up. So got to be really careful, be more nimble than normal, and be light on your positions. So for right now, that's I'm looking for stocks that are kind of honey badger type stocks that don't really care what the market's doing, but they're kind of few and far between. And I don't really have any good examples here. Well, I guess one. I do like Tractor Supply to the upside here. I do like Home Depot to the upside here. But even those, and that's just a couple I've been looking at, even those may be a little dicey if the overall market does start to pull back. So just be careful out there and, sit on your hands and wait and watch. That's a bigger part of trading anyway, is waiting for the right setup, and that's what we really have to do right now. So be careful out there, and we'll see what happens in the next couple of days, and especially as we get into next week with some of the tech names reporting, and we'll have a better picture, next week what happens. So that's what I've got for today. Take care. I appreciate it, and I'll see you guys at the next update. Thanks.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me